We are discussing IB question paper with code. This is the code for the question paper. It's from higher level, paper 2 chemistry for November 2018. This is the part A for question 1. Here we are having A part for question number 1. This has been already done in another video. Please check the description box below for getting the details of the answer to this question. So in this video, we will be continuing with B part of question number 1 from this particular paper. Here is the question what we will be discussing in this particular video. You may please pause the video and read through the question. So now I'll explain to you what is said here. The reaction was carried out in a calorimeter. The maximum temperature rise of the solution was 7.5 degrees Celsius. Calculate the enthalpy change of the reaction in kilojoules. It is asking us to calculate the enthalpy change in kilojoules. Assuming that all the heat released is absorbed by the solution. So actually here we are making an assumption that the complete heat energy released during the reaction is absorbed by the solution only. It is not absorbed by the calorimeter, what we are using, or the thermometer or the stirrer inside it. So that is an assumption that we are making here. So now let's see how to work this out. For a quick recap, (3.6 grams of iron is actually made to react with 80 centimeter cube. Only 80 centimeter cube of copper sulfate solution is being used. This solution is having a concentration of 0.2 molar or moles per decimeter cube. So again, 3.6 grams of iron is allowed to react with just 80 centimeter cube of 0.2 molar copper sulfate, and the reaction is carried out in a calorimeter like this. So this thermometer provided here helps us to notice the rise in temperature or the fall in temperature, what is happening to the system. And the stirrer here helps in stirring the solution for getting a uniform temperature rise, or to make the temperature distribution uniform, we are providing the stirrer. Otherwise, there will be error in the temperature measurements that is made. So we can assume that this iron, what we are having here, is added into the calorimeter, and 80 centimeter cube of the solution is added into it, and this is an exothermic reaction, so there will be a rise in temperature. See, in the question, it is highlighted, heat is released. So we need not have to have a confusion like whether heat is released or absorbed. Question is clearly indicating there is a rise in temperature, because it is already said that the heat is released and temperature rise is also indicated in the question itself. So we need not have to have a second thought like whether it is exothermic or endothermic. It is exothermic only. So now let's see how to go about with the calculation. The energy to calculate the quantity of heat absorbed or released is Q is equal to mc delta T. Here m is actually the mass of the solution, and we are assuming this mass to be 80 grams itself. And this 80 grams, you might be wondering from where we are getting it. It's already stated that the solution is 80 centimeter cube of the solution is what we are using for this experiment. So assuming that the density, I'm highlighting, we are assuming that the density is equal to 1 gram per centimeter cube. We are just assuming the density of the solution to be equal to density of water. Density is 1 gram per centimeter cube, wherein we assume that density of a solution is equal to density of water. This is an assumption that is made here. From that only we are getting the mass is 80 grams. So M is We've got the M value. Now let's see what is C. C is actually the specific heat capacity. Here again, we are assuming that it is 4.184 or 4.18 joules per grams per degree Celsius. This is actually the specific heat capacity value for water. This is the next assumption what is made here. Assume C of water is equal to C for solution also. This is another assumption that is made in this calculation. Then the rise in temperature, that of course it is given in the question itself. It's stated that the temperature rises 7.5 degrees Celsius. So temperature rises 7.5 degrees Celsius. Now just plug in the numbers and do the calculation. So Q will be equal to mass is 80. C is 4.184 or 4.18. Temperature is 7.5. So 80 times 4.18 times 7.5, I'll be getting it as 2,508. So the unit for 80, it is grams. For this one, it is joules per grams per degree Celsius. Unit for 4.18 is joules per gram per degree Celsius. And unit for temperature is degree Celsius. This degree Celsius and degree Celsius cancels out. This cancels out. We are left with only joules. So the unit is going to be 2,508 joules, which I'm asked to write it as kilojoules. Question is specifying us to write in kilojoules. So that would be 2.508 kilojoules. Or if I'm rounding it off, I'll be getting it as 2.5 times 10 to the power 3 kilojoules. So we've got the heat that is released during this reaction, which is 2.5 times 10 to the power 3. But so now we have got that when we are having the reactant iron powder and the copper sulfate solution reacting with each other, we found that it is releasing away 2.5 kilojoules of energy. Again, I highlight in the question itself, it is clearly indicated the reaction is exothermic. So in order to indicate that exothermic behavior, I can introduce a negative sign for the heat that is released or the Q value that we have calculated just now. But our aim is to calculate the enthalpy for this reaction. And the enthalpy that is calculated is not for the given quantity of the reactants that we are using. It has to be for 1 mole of the reactants that we have to use per mole of the reactant. Here, copper sulfate is the limiting reagent. So I'm considering copper sulfate because definitely there will be excess of iron that is left unreacted. I cannot depend on iron for my calculations. I have to strictly depend on only copper sulfate. So in our previous calculation, in section 1A calculations, we had already calculated the moles of copper sulfate. I'll just show it here. Here we have already calculated for the given quantity of copper sulfate solution, we are having 0.016 moles of copper sulfate in it. So back here, Q is equal to minus 2.5 kilojoules for 0.016 moles of copper sulfate. So in order to calculate the enthalpy change, it has to be for 1 mole. So X kilojoules will be corresponding to 1 mole of copper sulfate. When I'm cross multiplying the data, I'll be getting X times 0.016, will be equal to 1 times minus 2.5. So I'll be getting X as equal to 2.5 over 0.016 gives me 156.25. Of course, the negative sign will be there. Of course, the negative sign will be there. Yeah. When I'm doing a rounding off, I can round this off to 160, negative 160 kilojoules per mole. Now I'm calling it as per mole because this is for 1 mole of copper sulfate. This is going to be our answer. Instead of copper sulfate, if you're depending on copper that is formed as the product, we can utilize the moles of copper that is formed as the product as well. In that case, the value will be slightly different. So in the initial part of this section, it was already stated that it is already shown that this reaction will be producing 0.872 grams of copper. This is not the theoretically calculated value. This is the output of the experiment. At the end of the experiment, when I'm saying end of the experiment, what I mean is iron is made to react with copper sulfate solution. The precipitate of copper, what is formed, is separated out. It is washed, dried, and weighed. This quantity is 0.872. This is the actual experimental result, experimental quantity of copper sulfate. Sorry, copper that is produced in the reaction. Some of you would be using this particular value for your calculation. Now let's see what is the data that we get. What is the enthalpy value what we get if we are using 0.872 grams. So back here, the amount of heat produced in the reaction is minus 2.5 kilojoules. Minus, obviously, it is an exothermic reaction. So minus indicates that heat energy is getting released away. This much quantity of heat energy is released on 0.875 grams of copper produced. Copper produced experimentally. It's not the theoretically calculated value. So now our aim is to find out how many moles of copper has been produced. So we have to convert the mass into moles. For that, number of moles is equal to mass over atomic mass. So we get number of moles is equal to 0.875 grams over atomic mass of copper is 63.55 grams per mole. So this will be, when I'm calculating, when I'm dividing this, moles and moles goes away. Sorry, grams and grams goes away. This mole goes to the numerator, per mole goes to the numerator. And the value I get is 0.0137 moles. So many moles are there. So many moles of copper, when so many moles of copper is produced, it will be releasing minus 2.5 kilojoules of energy. So I can rewrite it as minus 2.5 kilojoules of energy corresponds to 0.0137 moles of copper. Now, if I want to get it for 1 mole of copper, because as I said before, enthalpy has to be calculated for 1 mole of the substance, not for any quantity that we utilize in the experiment. So for 1 mole of copper, let's take this as X kilojoules. When I'm solving for X through cross multiplication, I can get minus 2.5 times 1 is equal to X times 0.0137. So when I'm taking to the opposite side, I'll be getting X as equal to minus 2.5 over 0.0137. When I divide this, I'll be getting the value as minus 182.48 kilojoules. So when I'm rounding it off, kilojoules per mole. So when I round it off to two significant values, when I'm rounding it off to two significant figures, I'll be getting it as minus 180 kilojoules per mole. Now let's see the answer scheme. This is it. They've given both the ways. So one is giving us minus 1.6 that we have seen. We have also seen how we are getting minus 1.8. So here we have calculated the answer for this question. It can be either minus 160 kilojoules per mole, or it can be minus 180 kilojoules per mole. Both the values have been accepted as per marking scheme. So now let's move to the next section. So now let's move to the next part of the same section. It's from B only. State another assumption you made in part 1. We have already made few assumptions. I indicated it there itself. So I'm just highlighting it once again. The density of the solution was assumed to be equal to 1.0 grams per centimeter cube, which is actually the density of water. Then the specific heat capacity of water is actually 4.184 joules per grams per degree Celsius. But here we are assuming that the specific heat capacity of solution is equal to 4.184 joules per grams per degree Celsius. These are two assumptions what we had made. Then another assumption what we made was that there is no heat loss to the calorimeter, the temperature, there's no heat loss to the calorimeter, to the thermometer, or the stirrer that we are using. So no loss of heat energy to the materials of the calorimeter. Then another assumption what we are making is that the reaction is going for completion. The complete reactant what we are using is reacting away. Completion of reaction is another assumption what we make. You can go with any of the answers choices given here. It's just for 1 mark. Any choice given here will do. So moving on to the next part, going on to the next section, the only significant uncertainty is in the temperature measurement. Determine the absolute uncertainty in the calculated value of delta H if the uncertainty in temperature rise was plus or minus 0.2 degrees Celsius. You may pause the video and read the question if you were finding it difficult to understand. We know that percentage error is equal to experimental value minus accepted value over accepted value times 100. So this is the formula to calculate percentage error. We've been already given in the question. In the question itself, it is given that the uncertainty in the value is plus or minus 0.2. So now this portion has been given in the question. It is given to be 0.2 plus or minus, modulus will be cancelling it. Modulus will be making it positive. The modulus value will be making it positive. So we need not worry about the sign of it. By accepted value, the accepted value has been 7.5. We have been using 7.5 in our calculation. So that is the accepted value times 100. So we will be getting it as equal to 2.66%. So in this, there is only one sig fix. So I can round this off to 3%. Only one sig fix has to be retained. Significant figure has to be maintained. So I'm just rounding it off to 3%. So Now, the question is asking us to calculate the uncertainty in delta H, or the enthalpy of the reaction. We had got two enthalpy values. One was delta H equal to minus 160 kilojoules per mole. And the other one was delta H is equal to minus 180 kilojoules per mole. Let's see how much you will be getting the uncertainty if you're going with minus 160. Uncertainty is equal to 3% of 160. We did not have to consider the sign, so that will be 3% of 160. So that would be 3 over 100 times 160. So this will give me 3 over 100 times 160 gives me 4.8 kilojoules, which I can round it off to 5 kilojoules. Or if I'm going with minus 180 kilojoules, I'll be getting the value as uncertainty is equal to 3% of 180. So that will be 3 over 100 times 180. This will be equal to 5.47. So if I'm rounding it off, this also will be giving me 5 kilojoules. So now let's check the marking scheme. This is it. You may pause the video and have a look. So that's all for now in this video. Thank you.